transmitting live from the future.
Hello, and welcome to the Inlay. Today, I'm pumping up the volume. I'm putting it to max. It's a special, it's head-to-head. 2 games go in, 1 game goes out. Here we go! In this corner, weighing in at 495 cards, this game is no stranger to the ring. She's already got a sequel and she shows no sign of stopping. The Pathfinder Adventure Card Game! And in this corner, weighing in at 230 cards, we have a newcomer. This fresh-faced fighter brings fierce form to this fabled arena. Shadowrun Crossfire! Fight! Okay, so the Pathfinder Adventure Card Game seeks to capture the bold, trailblazing adventures and the tense dungeon delves of the Pathfinder role-playing game and squeeze them into this actually giant, cavernous box. So how does it plan to do this? Well, at the beginning of your first game, each player is going to pick one of the 4 characters that comes in this box, or one of 10 characters if you buy the expansion pack. And then they're going to assemble their unique deck of equipment, allies, spells in accordance with the sort of deck recipe that's on the back of each card. And right off the bat, that's really interesting. You get to customize each character. Doesn't matter if someone else picks the same one later down the line, is unique to you. No one is going to build their deck the same way you do. And then, once everyone has all their equipment together, once everyone's ready, you adventure. Huzzah! So, in the middle of the table, there's going to be a number of location cards, each of which is going to have its own personal deck of cards. And you're going to build this deck out of weapons and creatures and all sorts of things in accordance with its own sort of deck recipe, sort of like the recipe for your own personal deck. And what's really cool is that what locations you're going to have is going to be different every single time you play, in accordance to whatever mission that you're doing. And what's really, really cool about that is that not only does this box come with several missions for you to play, but it's the start of a whole adventure series. You're going to be able to buy more adventure decks. You're going to be able to add in more scenarios, more enemies, more spells, more weapons, all sorts of really cool things you're just going to be able to add into this giant box. So, on a player's turn, they're going to move around their character from location to location. If they want to, they can stay in the same place if they want, and then they're going to encounter that location by drawing cards off of the top of the deck. Now, this can be something like a monster that's going to attack you and you have to defeat it, or an ally that you have to convince to join your ranks, or something like a treasure map, something unexpected. Ooh! But whatever you encounter, all of the cards boil down to one of 2 categories. There's either going to be boons or good things like the ally or your treasure map, or banes, bad things like creatures or traps or something like that. But either way, you're going to deal with them by rolling dice. You didn't think there was going to be a Pathfinder game without dice, did you? Now, to deal with any card in the Pathfinder Adventure Card Game, you're going to have to do a skill check. That is, you're going to have to roll a die and then compare your result to whatever the card says. And this is true whether you're punching a goblin in the face, or trying to get out of a pit trap, or trying to get boots. Anyways, what die you're going to roll is going to be dependent on your character. Like, look at Sejan here, with his dexterity at a D10, that is a 10-sided die. Anything that asks for dexterity, he will roll a d10. And looky here, he rolled a 7. Oh my god, Sejan, you just got a new pair of boots. So you and your crew will continue to tear through these location decks, encountering card after card after card, rolling dice. But to what end? Well, secreted away into one of these location decks is a special enemy, a very special enemy. The villain. You see, victory in the Pathfinder Adventure Card Game is contingent upon you finding and defeating this villain. And he's not alone. he has cronies, he has henchmen, and in each one of these decks will hide either him or his henchmen. So at the beginning of the game, you don't know where he is, so you just have to keep going and looking for them. And then once you find him, you have to defeat him once and for all. Why that sort of disclaimer at the end? Well, if you defeat him one time, that's great, but what's this? Oh no, he can run away and squirrel himself into a new location, just waiting for you to find him later. But there's something you can do about this. You have to either clear these locations completely so he can't run away from there, or have one of your homies at that location to try to stop him from running away. Then you can defeat him. What makes this even harder is this right here. This is the Blessings deck. And on each player's turn, they're going to turn over a card of the Blessings deck. This is a timer, and it keeps taking away with each player's turn. And if you don't find and defeat that villain before this deck is empty, well, you've lost. It's game over. But if you can defeat that villain before the old Blessings deck runs out, then congratulations! You have just won! Give yourself an old pat on the back or whatever you do to celebrate. And in addition to the personal satisfaction you'll get from winning the old Pathfinder adventure card game, you will get some kind of reward depending on whatever mission you're playing. Now this reward can be very small, to some kind of different loot, some new sword or whatever you can slip into your deck, to some kind of permanent increase, some kind of permanent new power to add to your character that you can use the next time you go out adventuring. Alright. Yeah. Now for the Pathfinder game, let's go over to Shadowrun. So, Shadowrun Crossfire tries to deliver the hacking shenanigans, the magic chicanery, the bullet-bouncing brouhaha, and the smooth-talking action of the Shadowrun role-playing game. And once again, it tries to deliver all this with cards. Lots and lots of cards. Less cards in the Pathfinder game, but still a ton of cards. Anyways, each player is going to assume the role of one of the 4 archetypes of Shadowrun, either the Decker, the Mage, the Street Samurai, or the Face. And each player starts with a deck of the exact same 4 cards, just in different proportions. You see, the Decker is going to have more mark cards that do green hacking damage, and the Mage is going to have more mana cards that do blue magic damage, and the Street Samurai, you get it, yada yada yada. So depending on the mission that you and your fellow runners are going to be doing, you're going to have to deal with a number of these obstacle cards. What's great about this is that the game literally comes with a ton of obstacle cards in 2 different difficulties, which means that although the game only has 3 missions to choose from straight from the box, there's tons of variety, so you're never going to really play the same game more than once. Anyways, you're going to deal with these obstacles using both the cards from that starting deck you made and cards that you're going to purchase and add to your deck over the course of the game. Each obstacle is going to have this damage track over the top of it. In order to defeat that obstacle, you need to destroy every part of that damage track. And it'll either show the different colored damage symbols or a gray dot and a number, which you can fill with any color damage, it doesn't matter. For example, if you want to defeat this Ancient Sentry, we can say use this mana to defeat the blue symbol here. Boom. You could then use something like Backdoor here, which does 1 green damage and 2 gray colorless damage, taking out our 3. Boom. And then we got a Street Smarts to take out that last red damage. Kabooyah! It's dead. Now, I haven't even mentioned the best thing about obstacles. Do you want to know what the best thing about obstacles is? Here's the best thing about obstacles. Each obstacle is facing a specific runner, which means that obstacle is only a danger to that one player. And what's great about that is that each person can attack whatever obstacle they like, and this leaves room for some real heroic moments. That means that you can use your whole hand to protect the guy across the table from you, only to be killed the next moment, that other player reaching his hand out to give you some comfort during the last seconds of your life. It's great! So where this gets exceedingly difficult is when you factor in these Crossfire cards. This nefarious little deck seeks to add a new horror to every round of the game, adding things like making the obstacles do more damage, or making them hard to kill, or making the cards that you need to buy into your deck more expensive. Oh no! And the more rounds go by, the more cards will be in the Crossfire discard pile. The more cards in this Crossfire discard pile, the higher the Crossfire level. The higher the Crossfire level, well, the more deadly the run becomes. You see, many cards, Crossfire cards and obstacle cards, have special effects that only trigger when the Crossfire level is so high. So if you want to make it in and out alive, you're going to have to work fast. So, after you've finished the mission you're currently doing by defeating all the obstacles or just surviving a number of rounds, then you'll earn yourself karma points. And these karma points can be spent on stickers. Who doesn't love stickers? You put these stickers on your board and they give you some permanent benefit, like more money to start the game off with, or more cards in your deck, or any of a million other things. Hooray! Okay, so final verdict. The Pathfinder Adventure card game is a fine game. It has a lot of really nice mechanics, these very interesting cogs that spin as you play the game, but in my opinion, these cogs don't quite fit. The game promises to give you so much tension. There's that blessings deck that ticks down every turn. There's the fact that the villain can up and run away after you've defeated him one time. There's the fact that every character is so wildly specialized that there's no way that they could do everything that you need to be done. But while playing it, it's just sort of felt meh. It's the kind of game that you play while you're doing something else, watching a movie. It doesn't have that sort of cutthroat tension that I would expect from something in the Pathfinder universe. It's definitely not a boring game. It's not a game that is bad, but I would definitely recommend you try it before you make any final determinations on it. It's fine. It's okay. But we go over to Shadowrun Crossfire, and that's a different story, my friends. The abstraction of all of the abilities and equipment of the Shadowrun universe into that colored damage system is brilliant. You throw in those Crossfire cards, and a game of this feels like you and your friends collectively disarming a bomb. You're ripping through the machine, strategizing about what wires to cut. You're wiping the sweat from your brows and just hoping that the whole thing doesn't blow up in your face before it's too late. If I did have to levy a criticism, though, against Shadowrun Crossfire, it would be that the game doesn't feel particularly Shadowrun-y. I think that the mechanisms in the game are brilliantly designed, but, you know, taking out your room sweeper and mowing down a whole group of robots doesn't really feel very different than taking out your laptop and hacking a group of robots. Since it's all just those colored damage things, it doesn't feel like you're doing different things. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I do have some experience in Shadowrun, and you can have some experience too. You can listen to the Shadownauts here on YouTube, and we're now on iTunes. Check it out. Anyways, it's still a really fun puzzle for you and your friends to tension-filled put together. That didn't make any sense, but it's a good game. It's a good game. So yeah, Shadowrun wins. So let's ask a real expert in Shadowrun what he thinks. What do you think about Shadowrun Crossfire? How many hits did you get?
Get back to me in like 15 minutes.
One,
No,
two.
no, that's just 3.
1.
Stop.